Hi, everybody. It's Marianne. I promised that I would come on live and describe to you my unicorn story. So I know unicorns are all the rage these days, but my idea of a unicorn doesn't involve like rainbows and glitter. My idea of a unicorn is something that is rare and hard to find. So let me start at the beginning. So 5 years ago, hi. 5 years ago, we a little over 5 years ago, we were very pregnant with our third child, and we had a regular compact car, and we had two children in car seats in that compact car, and it became very real that we needed something that was going to be able to fit three car seats, and compact cars don't fit three car seats. So we were looking for a minivan, and I hadn't driven a minivan since college. I loved my Plymouth Voyager. It was the best. But we were looking for a minivan, and I hadn't had a lot of experience with car buying, so I didn't realize at the time, I just didn't have the thought in my mind that what I was looking for was going to be difficult to find. So I wasn't thinking it was a unicorn. It was just, this is what I want, and this is what I am looking for, and this is what I'm going to find. And we found it. We had about, I think, 3 or 4 weeks to spare before I had our third child. And so what we found, this was in 2014, we found a 2003 Ford Windstar, and it only had, 76,000 miles, maybe it was 78,000 miles, and we got it for, the asking price was $4,400. And that has been a great car. We did have to rebuild the transmission maybe a year after we got it, but it's been a great car. We've taken lots of trips back and forth from Arizona, Minnesota, Oklahoma, all over, and it's been a great car, low maintenance, and I hate having a car payment. Raise your hand if you are with me on this. I cannot stand having a car payment. It doesn't make sense to me because, cars really lose their value as time goes on. And to me, it does not make sense to buy a new car off of a car lot if your cash flow isn't, and your wealth hasn't reached a point yet where like paying cash off of a car lot is no big deal. Like I don't like having a car payment and paying interest. So anyway, so we got that car. It was a great car. And interestingly, at the time we got that car, both my husband and I were we were pretty broke, and we were under the spell of scarcity thinking and scarcity perception of the world. And we actually did have to get a loan for that because we didn't have any money in the bank, and our credit was shot. And so we had to get my mom to co-sign on that. And we paid it off pretty quickly, but I knew at that point that I never wanted to be in that situation again. And I started really coaching my thoughts. I hired coaches to figure out how to manifest a more abundant life. And I knew that it had to do with my thinking. So fast forward 5 years, we've been using that car. It's been great. But about a month ago, the transmission started hitting really hard. And what I mean by hitting really hard, like I'm sitting at a stoplight and it goes boom like that, and it feels like somebody kind of tapped me from behind, and I look and there's nobody there. Or just when the transmission's cycling through the gears, it kind of jolts forward, and it's an automatic transmission, So we noticed it, and we're like, oh, it might be time to start looking for another family car. And we knew based on the age of our car that there would come a time in the near future that we would be looking for something. So we've been preparing for this. We've been putting money in the bank. We've been saving up, and it's in a specific savings account so that we would be able to pay cash for a car to replace the one that we were using. So when the transmission hit, we were like, okay, we need to start looking because eventually this car is going to stop working, and we don't want to put more money into it. It just doesn't make sense to put a lot more money into a car that's that old. So I started looking on Facebook Marketplace, and I knew what I wanted. Okay, so here's what I wanted. I wanted a Honda Odyssey. So if anybody that has ever driven minivans or looked for minivans, they know that the Honda Odyssey is kind of like the Cadillac of minivans. And I had this hope that we would find a Honda Odyssey, but all of the ones that I were looking at had lots of miles on them, which is pretty common because who drives minivans? Families, right? And they take family trips, and they're driving kids everywhere, right? So the miles are really high, and for the miles and the age, the prices that I was seeing on those vehicles on Facebook Marketplace were pretty high. And so I was like, well, I started thinking maybe I won't find one. So I was looking at other, mid-size. I was looking at vans and sport utility vehicles, and I didn't really want a sport utility vehicle or a truck or anything like that because we don't like to have a car that guzzles a lot of gas for obvious reasons. So, but we did want something that had a little bit more storage, because when we go camping, it's pretty difficult for us to fit everything in for camping. So maybe something that had the capacity to tow something small, right? We wanted something with low mileage, and I wanted something under $6,000. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, Marianne, families drive minivans. They also don't, they have a bunch of kids that don't take care of them. They trash them. And I did. I saw a lot of Facebook Marketplace minivans that were trashed by kids and had high miles. And they were more than 6,000. Some of them were 10, 12,000. And so I started to think, okay, maybe I won't find this. And then I started getting into fear, like, oh my gosh, our car is not going to last that much longer. And every time I started thinking those thoughts and getting into that fear, sort of grasping, desperate energy, I stopped looking. I turned off the Facebook Marketplace and I did something else, because I didn't want to bring that kind of fear-based, grasping, desperate energy to this situation. So last week, we even spent a lot of time, both of us, looking at car dealerships and Craigslist and all these different places. And we stayed up kind of late, and we just were not finding our unicorn. And I started feeling that energy again, that sort of like doubt. I started falling out of belief. And I didn't want to be falling out of belief, because I just knew that our unicorn was going to show up. And I remember I even said it to my husband. I said, don't worry. Our car's not going to fall apart tomorrow, and even if it does, we'll be fine for a couple of days, because the bus picks up the kids and drops them off, and groceries get delivered. So we're going to be fine. But our unicorn's going to show up. I just know it. Someone's going to post a unicorn, and it's going to be for us, and it's going to be close. We won't have to drive to Texas to get it. We're going to get our unicorn. So this past Saturday morning, we were planning on going camping, so we loaded up the car, and we got a pretty good early start. We started about 10 o'clock in the morning, and on our way out eastward, we were driving about 3 hours east, we stopped at a gas station to get some gas, and on the way to get gas, I checked the Facebook Marketplace, and it recommended, some cars based on my recent searches, and up comes this Honda Odyssey with 85,000 miles. Listed for $5,400, and it's very clean. The pictures look very clean. Like, this has not been beat to hell by a family. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Billy, that's my husband. I said, it's our unicorn. And he said, well, message the seller. So I messaged the seller. I went into the gas station, spilled hot coffee on me, put honey on there. Thank you, Darla. And I came back out, and they had messaged me back that yes, it was still available for now, which they had a unicorn. They're probably getting tons of calls on it. And so I saw that it was in a town only 35 minutes to the east of us, which was on the way for camping. And I asked them if we could go see it today, and they said yes. And they said when? And I said 30 minutes. So we got there, and it was interesting. We were driving through their neighborhood, and there was some really not well-maintained homes, but then we drive a little while, and then there was some well-maintained homes, and then not so great homes, and then nice homes. And so we're like, okay, what are we going to get here? So we show up at their house. It's a well-maintained home, very well-maintained yard, and we're like, oh, cool, they take care of their shit, right? So we get out. It's this nice couple that are my parents' age, and we are looking around the van, and it's like, you guys, it was like, I can't believe, am I dreaming? This is it. And she told me, you guys get this, the van was owned by her mother, a little old lady in her 80s. She bought it from the dealership and drove it to the grocery store and to the bank and to church. And that's why it had such low mileage. She garage kept it, and all of the service records were at the Honda dealership. They emailed them to me. You guys, this was a unicorn. And then they had, since her mother unfortunately passed away, they had used it for one trip, and they installed one of those XM radios with the video, and so they installed a backup camera and Bluetooth, and it's a 2004 Honda Odyssey, and we got it for an amazing price, and it was under what I wanted to spend, and we had the cash for it right there. I don't have a car payment, and I have a reliable car that's going to fit 3 kids in car seats. And you guys, Honda Odysseys, they're not paying me to, advertise for them, but they run forever. And so I got it, you guys. I got my unicorn because I stayed in belief, certainty that I was going to find my unicorn and that it was just going to show up and someone was going to decide to sell it. And here's the interesting part about that. So the couple that sold it to us, they had inherited the car from her mother, who died like a year and a half ago. And she was having a hard time letting go of it, which is understandable. And she just decided that it was time to let it go to a family that really needed it. She just decided to put it on the marketplace when I stayed in certainty and belief that it was going to show up, and it did. I'm getting all choked up, guys. And they were the nicest couple, and they even had like a trunk full of toys at their home for my kids to play with while we figured out the whole transaction. And they even let our kids keep toys, and like it was just the best experience. And I'm so grateful that I learned how to stay in awareness and manage my thoughts and manage the energy that I bring to any situation, to any relationship, to any problem or challenge, or finding any kind of solution in my life. I've learned how to coach my thoughts and coach my energy, and I know that I can coach that for you if you're looking to be able to manifest things like that. We did the same thing with our home. I actually even drew a picture of the home that I wanted when we bought a home, and this house that we are in right now, it's amazingly accurate down to the detail of what we put together for our dream home. And so if you want to learn how to manifest like that and stay in certainty and faith, no matter what is happening in your life, instead of fear and scarcity, give me a call, send me a message. I'm going to put my link for booking with me and doing a consult call. Just jump on the phone with me usually takes about an hour, and we can discover, what it is that you want, why you're not getting there, and how to get you there. And you can even go to my Facebook page, Mary Ann Drew Coaching, and book there too. So thanks for watching. I wish everybody this kind of success in manifesting what they want in their life. And please share if you know anybody that is having trouble getting what they want. They can have a perfect example of getting exactly what you want, even if everybody tells you that, little old ladies don't drive minivans. They do.